I think I'm done trying to get a good lighting in the evening. It's starting to be that season where it just gets dark early and I just don't have enough hours in the day, so we're just gonna roll with it. Hey guys, today I want to say something that I've been meaning to just say for a while, but I really didn't know how to say it. Just hear me out. I'm just going to start talking and maybe my message will just piece itself together, because today I want to address it, but I still don't know how to say it. We're just gonna roll with it. In the past, in the channel, I have a memory of this too, one that's fairly recent too. I have had at least 3 people comment in such a way that I'm like, okay, I get why you're saying it, perhaps, but I just don't see the usefulness of it. So maybe you'll shine some light on this. And that is this little phrase that is said to someone whenever they seem to complain or just say something that is either stressing them out, making them sad, making them feel bad, whatever. And the phrase that accompanies it is, remember that some people out there have it worse than you. Okay, duh. But just because other people have it worse than me shouldn't mean that it's okay to invalidate what to me feels like it's bad, severe, or just plain old challenging. And I feel like maybe, just maybe, that is exactly the propellant of so much stigma in modern days and our society, because you have someone who is finally opening up about their challenges, what goes through their head, what may affect them, what might make them sad, what might impact their productivity in a negative way, why someone may be behaving in a hostile way or whatever. And then with that little phrase, you may be shooting them down. For me personally, I initially read it and I'm like, well, that's a little bit annoying, because I am hoping that I'm finding someone who is more on the empathetic side or sympathetic side, just like I am, because I consistently am. I could tell that to everybody, like, people have it worse than you, but I never like to talk to someone who is opening up to me about their issues and not give them helpful advice. Because when you just say, remember that people have it way worse than you, it doesn't even matter what kind of worse it is. Let's say that I say that today I'm depressed, and the reason is because, I don't know, whatever. I can't even think of something that can make me depressed right now. But if I share that, and then someone might say, totally unrelated, let's say that what depresses me is my life at work. And then someone might say, oh, but remember that at least you don't have to deal with the loss of your home to a natural disaster. Okay, I mean, just because I have the privilege of residing in an area that doesn't experience that type of challenge doesn't mean that my feelings of what my human emotions are, which is something is making me depressed right now, should be compared to other people's tragedies. Because if you want to hear the worst tragedy about my life, I can go and tell you the story of the time back in 2013 when I was homeless for a few weeks. And let me tell you that those were not the worst times in my life. Those were not the most miserable times in my life. Remember that, at least in my case, I live in a society or in a country where our challenges go beyond physical challenges. Like, I'm not in an underdeveloped country. So therefore, if something were to happen and I survive it, I can replace stuff so easily. Or at least I'm in the right land to start reconstructing and get in my 2 feet just soon enough. I haven't experienced that kind of drama yet, because my homelessness didn't mean that I lost everything that I owned, but In my society, most of the issues are issues that you can't really touch. It has to do with issues that people just individually experience, either in their mind or just emotionally, whatever. Just because we express that and that is our challenge, it doesn't mean that it's okay to compare it to a completely unrelatable challenge, which is this other stuff, like people who suffer from diseases caused by their environment, like natural disasters or not having access to nutritious food or clean water, stuff like that. I'm not saying that their challenge is invalid. But in the same manner, mine is not invalid. But by you making that comment, you're making it seem like mine is invalid and I must only focus on the challenges that you perceive as real, which are the ones that tend to challenge your safety frequently and on a more life-threatening fashion, which is lacking good resources, you know? I'm just saying, guys, I'm not crapping on any of you who have commented this to me, because I have had people tell this to me in person and I hadn't really spoken about it like this, like my perception of it. It's just that I wish that if you have something to say back to me, make it a helpful advice. Because for me, when I'm opening up like that, I am legitimately struggling. I am legitimately suffering. It may not be from injuries, it may not be physical, but it could be, because when I feel that way, sometimes I don't eat. So although I'm in a privileged society where I have access to food pretty easily, it doesn't mean that I'm taking advantage of it, because something is keeping me from it. So just because my challenges are not the kinds that you're used to feeling the worst about, doesn't mean that I'm safe. You know, once again, guys, I'm just saying I still love you guys who posted that. Maybe you have a memory of having posted that. You should know who you are. But just know that I'm not mad at you. I'm not irritated. In fact, I can't even remember who said that to me. I only have memory of just one person, the most recent one. I'm not mad. Put it this way. Let's say that I'm a little disappointed, because I know that you guys got something better to say, and this also involves the folks who have said this to me personally. Maybe the next time someone tells me this, I will rant to them exactly the way I am ranting to you right now. But let's just be a little more constructive to each other. Instead of lowering the value of what we consider challenging, let's actively work on saying something that's going to help. Not something that's supposed to make you feel like you are invalid or your feelings are invalid. Because if we're constantly comparing and competing who has it worse, we just will never move forward. Like, it's all right that some people's emergencies may need to have a higher priority, but it doesn't mean that we should just stop caring about these situations that are not as severe, because they can grow into becoming life-threatening and severe because we're just failing to address it on time. It's like when you are trying to diagnose something in the body. The earlier you catch it, the earlier you address it, the better chances of survival, and the less likely that this thing is to develop into something life-threatening and malignant. Same thing goes for, in this case, mental health, I guess. Like, if we're starting to express something, at least we are diagnosing the problem. Let's work toward fixing it, as opposed to just pushing it to the side because it's not important or it's not as bad as other people have it. Do you see where I'm coming from? Do you understand what I'm saying? Once again, I really don't need any validation on this. I feel like people just won't be able to help themselves from saying that. But I want you to know my feelings on it, the way I perceive it, and maybe perhaps just suggest a better way of handling this, or figuring out a better thing to say. Just being a little more proactive, as opposed to making the person feel like what they have to say has no substance, given that other people have it worse. There's always going to be other people something. Other people who are better than you, other people who are faster than you, smarter than you, better than you, more creative than you, sicker than you, more prone to diseases than you, more prone to dying like you, anything. Alright guys, that's going to be my mini rant, thought, information for the day. What do you think? Does this change the way you perceive that comment? Do you think I am just reaching? Do you think I am right in saying that? Did you not realize the effects that that statement can have on people? Just what do you think? I want to hear it, because maybe your intention with saying that is far more constructive and less harmful than maybe I'm perceiving it, given that I am on the receiving end of this. So maybe I can't look at it clearly or think of it clearly, because I'm just thinking like I'm offended, which I'm really not. It's kind of a confusing feeling. I'm just frustrated that that's the best that you have to tell me. So that's really why I'm ranting like this, because I can take this kind of comment. It's just that my expectations are higher from those who are close to me and those who I just look up to, because I know that you can say something better. You've helped me before. So what's happening right now that you can't do that? Anyways, you guys, as always, I appreciate you for sticking around and watching me and listening to me and commenting, because in these last few weeks I have transformed my opinion and feelings in many things, and there's no way that I could have accomplished that without those inputs and just you guys intervening. So please keep it coming, and I hope that I can bring up topics like this to where it just shapes my mind and I become a better person in the process, and hopefully that also helps you to become aware or keep track of things that maybe you wouldn't have cared about going over, or you had never really met someone to have this discussion with. So I would be more than pleased to be that voice for you. All right guys, I'll see you soon.